Sundays in a lot of Italian households is all about making sauce. And not just a quick sauce, a sauce that you put together, throw it on the stove, and then forget about it. Every family has a different recipe, so there is no right recipe, wrong recipe, but it's all about making that sauce and letting it cook. Today, I'm going to show you how to make Ragù alla Napoletana, and this is really a meat-forward sauce. So this sauce is all about the meats. And you're really not making this sauce. The meat is going to make the sauce because this is really, the meat is going to dictate what this sauce tastes like. So I'm going to show you what meats we're using today. We have sausage, Italian sweet sausage. We have pork ribs, beef chuck. You want big chunks of beef chuck about the size of a small fist, and beef short ribs. And that's really it. So these meats are going to dictate what our sauce tastes like. This is a bold meat sauce. So if you're looking for a bold meat sauce that you could throw on the stove and let it cook for hours, then you're in the right place. So let's put it together. So we have a tablespoon of lard here. We're going to add this in. And the reason we're using lard is because traditionally lard was used in this dish, and olive oil would bring in that olive oil flavor. So lard kind of stays neutral and allows the meat really to shine. So now we'll get this pan really hot and we'll start sauteing the meats. Now I'm going to slowly add in the meat because I want the pan to reheat itself. As soon as you put a piece of meat in, it loses heat. So if we put the meat in slowly, the pan retains its heat and you get a nice sear on the meat. And if you throw all the meat in at one time, you're going to get a lot of water in here and you're not going to get a good sear. And we're going to start with the ribs. I'll check these out. Looks pretty good. Let the sides get some color. And what I like to do is, instead of pulling the meats out, I just create like little piles in here and bring in the other meats. It's kind of like playing musical chairs so that you can keep all the meat in and avoid that step. Like I said, we're going to take some time here. Don't put all the meat in at one time. We'll start searing the short ribs. And this is really a great technique. Instead of pulling the meats out, just kind of pile them on top of each other. It saves you time, one less dirty dish, and it keeps everything in one pan. It's a lot easier. For the beef chuck, stay away from the little cubes because they tend to fall apart in this type of sauce. So get a nice big piece and then just cut it up yourself. So the meat all picked up some color. Now we're going to add in some onions. And the reason I'm adding in the onions now is because if we added it before, they would have burned. So we're going to add them now. And I chopped them up small because I kind of want them to just melt into the sauce. So we'll give this a nice mix. The onions get in there. Once the onions start to soften up, we'll add in some red wine. I have a half a cup of red wine. And this is going to allow us to deglaze the pan. If you have anything sticking on the bottom, this will break it up. So we'll let the wine cook out. And then we'll add in the tomato sauce. So as you can see, most of the wine has evaporated. We're going to add in some tomato paste. We'll mix this up. I like to give the meat a little bit of a sear with the tomato paste. I feel like it deepens the flavor here. So definitely give it a little stir. Allow the tomato paste to cook a little bit on the meat. Now we're going to add in a few jars of tomato passata, which is pretty much just an unseasoned tomato puree. And this sauce is already thick, so as it cooks down, it's just going to get even thicker. If you were to do a whole peeled crushed tomato or San Marzano, you would definitely need a lot more cooking time. But this is pretty thick already. Get that in there. So now we're going to add in some water, but instead of going in with water in the pot, we're going to add some water to these jars and then clean them up. That way we don't waste any sauce. And this is about a half a liter of water. So throw this in. Give this a little stir. And we'll season it up with a little salt and pepper. And we'll cut these sausages in half, and then we'll add them in. And as you can see, we didn't put any garlic, basil, oregano, olive oil. We just kept it very simple. And that's really what this meat sauce is all about. Every family makes it different. Even if you go to Naples, everybody makes it different. They use different meats, different seasonings, different herbs. But at the end of the day, it's really about creating a meat sauce that you taste the flavor of the meat, because pork fat is flavorful. The beef fat has so much flavor. So you want to let that meat get into the sauce and create really a beautiful sauce. And the best part about this is having this sauce over pasta, because the sauce is just packed with so much flavor. And if you look here, the sauce is starting to bubble. This is called Pippiare. You can see the bubbling in the sauce. We're going to lower this heat a little lower, and we're just going to let it bubble for 4 hours. So I'm going to cover this about 3/4 of the way, and we're just going to let it cook on low. Now, my advice to you is, if you have a stove that has different sized burners, pick the smallest burner and cook it on low there, because the larger burners, it's going to bubble too hard. You might know what I'm saying. If you look at your stove, if they have different size burners, you'll see that the larger burners will cook stronger. So pick a burner that's smaller, get it to just bubble like this, cover it 3/4 of the way, and forget about it for 4 hours. All right, so it's been about 3 hours. I want to show you what this looks like. We've got the oil kind of on top, got that dark red color, and this is exactly what you want. This is a good sign that your sauce is coming together. And we have about an hour left, so this would be a good time to throw in some meatballs if you made meatballs. This would give it enough time to cook. There's not a lot of room in here though, so you can't really get too many meatballs in, but you could definitely squeeze a few in here. And this would be the time you'd throw them in. So we're gonna cover this, and we're gonna let it cook for another hour. All right, so it's been about 4 hours. Let's check it out. It smells amazing. It smells so good that my neighbor down the hall texted me and asked me what I was making, because he smelt it. And he lives like 4 doors down, so the whole building smells this. It smells so good. So let me show you what it looks like in here. All right, so as you can see, we've got that distinctive color on top, that dark red color. And this really comes from the long cooking time. And if you kind of move that over a little bit, you can see that's all the fat from the meat just kind of sitting on top. And you probably want to stir this, but I would avoid stirring this and stirring all that fat back into the sauce. We're just gonna let that fat sit on top. And now we'll kind of go through the inventory list of all the meats. All right, so we got a rib here. All right, got a nice piece of beef chuck, some sausages, another piece of beef chuck, it's a little short rib, another rib. Let's turn this plate around a little bit. Short rib, some more sausages. It's a short rib that kind of fell apart. Small rib. A little sauce on there. More sauce. Looks good. That's it. We have the short rib. They were kind of small and they pretty much kind of fell apart, but they still kept their shape in here. So you can see how tender they are. This one's literally just stripping away. The sausages are soft. The beef chuck is, we use big pieces of beef chuck so it would keep its shape. But if you stick a fork in there, you could see it really just comes apart. And that's really what you want with the beef chuck. You could see how tender that is right there. You want it to keep its shape, but not fully get shredded in the sauce. The large ribs pretty much kept their shape. They held on to their meat, but the smaller ribs really just kind of fell into the sauce, and the sausages are soft, and this is so good. So I have some water boiling. We'll get to that in a second. I want to show you this sauce and show you how thick it is. And you can see how thick that sauce is and how much flavor is really in that sauce. So it'd be a shame not to throw this over pasta. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So we'll get that on a plate. I got about a pound of pasta here. And that's it. Now you have a first course. In Italy, you would usually start with a nice first course of pasta. And everybody could kind of top their plates off with a little extra sauce if they want. So you start with your first course, pasta, and then your second course, your meat. So right here, you have a really big dinner. And you could easily double the pasta. We have a lot more sauce in here. You could see how much sauce is left over in here. So this would be great for leftovers, or if you wanted to make more pasta. So tender, but it's so good. And this is really what a Sunday dinner is all about. Having a sauce that's cooking for hours. Is it a healthy meal? I mean, it depends what your definition of health is. There's definitely a lot of fat, a lot of protein, and a lot of carbs in this. So I would say it's pretty balanced. It's real ingredients. And then also on Sundays, usually people just eat one big meal on Sundays. So this would be like the big meal. So if you take this one big meal and you drag it out over the whole day, I would say, yeah, it's definitely a healthy, hearty meal. A meal that you could really celebrate with your family. Slow down, celebrate with your family, because that's really what Sundays are all about, taking it easy and enjoying something like this. So I think you should definitely try this one. This is a very meat-forward ragu. There's a lot of other varieties of ragu. I have a Ragù Bolognese right here. You could try that one. I also have a Ragù Genovese. It's a lot of ragus. This one's really meat-forward, meat-heavy. It's very hearty. You should definitely try it. And let me know how you like it in the comments. Don't forget to hit the bell, like, and subscribe.